My name is Ronnie Shellist. I've got a C harmonica, and I want to talk to you about 5 distinct ways that you can work on bending, and I'm going to get into some practice tips, but really want to show you, if you never thought about it, I'm going to give you some ideas of ways in which you can attack these bends and get the most mileage out of them. So let's just get right into it. I've got a C harmonica. I'm going to start talking right away about kind of how people get into bending. When they first start bending, you typically are starting from a draw note. That means breathing in an inhale note. And you're working on driving the note down as low as you can. So in this C harmonica, you might start with one draw. Good, I got a half step out of that. And you check to kind of see how far you're able to get the note down. But after a while, you know, the technique of bending can often become more like an effect or some sort of trick rather than an actual note choice, and not in a good way. So what I mean is people that are not really thinking about how they're using the bent notes and how they're attacking them. So step one is obviously you're just trying to move the note. So you're starting with this draw note concept of getting the draw note to just move down on the bend. And that's all fine and dandy, but what happens outside of that after you've kind of got a feel for that? What are you doing with your bent notes? So let me give you a couple ideas. If you're finding that you can move the notes all the way down, you want to also make sure you can articulate each note, and that means in this range of half steps, just going on the holes 2 and 3 is where this matters because there are multiple half steps. I'm just speaking of draw bending today. So you can start to work at separating, and that's good, but that's not really even what I'm talking about today. What I want to show you is how to get the most mileage out of these bends. So if you're able to bend and you haven't thought about it, step one is just use it as a note choice in a riff. That sounds funny to say it, but there are not a lot of people that are really using a bent note as a singular just note choice in that riff. Let me show you an example. There's 2 bends in there. One of them comes up twice and the other one comes up once. The half step, 4 blow, and then 4 bend. So I had to go right to that. So let's start with that. If you're not able to peg a bend, this is the most distinct way outside of just drawing into a bend that you might want to really practice. And I think for a lot of folks, this takes time to get down. The goal is to be able to go right to the bent note. So if you've never practiced it, I'm going to keep this tip short. Just drive the note down. Take the harmonica out of your mouth, and when you place it back in, try to keep everything where it was with regards to your tongue position and get that note to come out. This is so important because if you can't do this, you're missing out on so many musical ideas that begin on a bent note. So practice going right to these bends, and on holes 2 and 3, you'll need to choose which bend you're working on. Half step on 2 or full step on 3. So you'll have to go potentially draw into this note. If you're puckering, just taking it in and out. If you're tongue blocking, taking it in and out. It doesn't matter what your embouchure is. So after you have kind of had some practice getting right to the bent notes and you can just play that bend, start working on ideas from those notes where they begin the actual riff. I've got 2 lessons I'm going to include in the video description, so look for those. One of them is called the bent note blues licks, and the other one is called advanced bending, and that's a new lesson that I came out with. I'm putting them on sale for this whole week, so you can check these lessons out if you need help on bending and you want some great exercises to work on. Stretching a bend, let's get into that. So stretching a bend would be the ability to cross all the microtones going into the lowest bend available from a draw note, let's say, and then also being able to hit a bend and lift it up, raise the pitch up, going out of the bend towards the draw note. They sound like this. Here's the 3. That's going down, obviously, and then going up from the bend. This type of I'm calling these stretching a bend for lack of a better term, but these require that you really move slowly and that the tongue is doing this more rolling motion, nice and easy as it moves. So there's 2 ways to approach it. Again, coming from a bent note, lifting it up, and then coming from a draw note, going down in. When you work on this technique, The whole goal is to see how slow you can move. You want to capture all of the microtones that are available along the way. And what can you do with it? Well, you can just emote with that sort of approach to bending. So I'm taking that 2 and I'm taking the full step and lifting it. You hear that one where I lift it up and back down. So this is a very important concept to get down. For most people, the challenge is going slow enough, so you've got to work on just rolling your tongue. All right, let's talk about dirty notes, two holes at once. The way this works and why you'd want to use it is because it's going to give you this beautiful bluesy sound on the harmonica. 2 notes at once gives you that like I said, that dirty note sound. And when you're using this idea, what's happening is you're bending a note and you're introducing a little portion of the hole above it. So it's the note below that gets bent, and the note above, we just bring in a tiny bit. So if it's the 3 note or 3 draw, just open up your embouchure a little bit and capture the 4. You only need a little bit of a bend. Same with 2 and 4 and 5. I kind of alluded or talked about this in another video that this is an ultra bluesy sound to bring in 2 holes and bend and then vibrato it. So just think about your attack on a bent note with the hole above. You only need to introduce a tiny bit of that note. Vibratos. If you're not using vibratos, let me tell you about them. There's sweet, sweet sound, and they happen on a bent note, kind of moving from that bent note and back up to the note above it and back down, and it's just going back and forth. The sweetest vibratos that I know occur on the bent notes around the half step range. On the 3 draw, you really have a sweet option for the half and full step range. So there's a way to work, again, practicing bending from the vibrato approach where you're just seeing how good you are at creating a vibrato on a particular bend on a specific hole on the harmonica. Those are the big ones that I got for you today. Again, we usually enter and start practicing bending from a draw note where you're bending into the draw note, or into the bend rather, stretching the note up or down, meaning from a bend lifting it up to the draw note, or from a draw note slowly going in. The differentiation between that and the first thing I mentioned, the draw note, is that that's just step 1. A draw note, you're not trying to go slow necessarily, you're just trying to go for moving the note down. And most people bend from that perspective. If you think about it, they're starting on a draw note most of the time when you listen to examples out there. So the other one is pegging a bend, and that's where you're just working on going right to the bend. Work on your vibratos. You can think about them in terms of the half step range. And finally, the dirty note sort of combination of bringing in the hole above. So if you're not working on your bends from all these perspectives, start doing it, and also consider the blow notes above and the blow bends. It's not just about draw notes. Let me talk a little bit about the lessons I've kind of included in the video description. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to this channel, and I've got a bunch more content coming your way. So for the advanced bending download, it is an audio lesson. It comes with a PDF. What you'll get, and I'm putting both of these on sale, so it's a good time to check them out if you want to work on your bending. You'll get a series of exercises that come from examples from my playing and how I work on bends in the form of an exercise. So it's pretty thorough. It's my newest lesson that I created. Out of all the lessons I offer, it's the freshest, which I think is relevant because the newest content captures me, talking about things in a light that from more experience versus like an old lesson from 8 or 9 years ago, like my beginner bending. It's totally valid and great, but it's designed for beginners. So this is the advanced bending. And the other one was the bent note blues licks. And what those are is I teach you, similar to my series that I've been doing, I teach you a bunch of new riffs, but the difference is that every single riff you learn starts on a bent note, and I move around in different holes so that you really hear these examples. Whoops. So every single idea forces you to go to a particular bend. Great practice, and you're learning some fresh ideas, obviously, at the same time. So check them out. That's in the video description. I'll continue that third position riff series soon here. I'll probably get back into it to the next clip here. Harmonica gear class this Saturday. If you don't know about that, I'll put a link to that in the video description. And it's $20 to join a live streaming class for 2 hours where we just dissect everything about amplifiers, microphones, pedals, harmonicas, and the accessories that go along with them. Not only demystifying what's available, what's worth investing in, but also how to set up your amp and tweak pedals and what are the best settings in certain situations, etc., and how to use this gear to benefit you the most. All right. That's what I got today. Hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful week, and I will see you soon.